Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me here. I am Coach CJ of Full Potential Leadership, and this is True North, our blog. And the goal of this blog is to make sure that you and your friends can build your practices successfully and that we can collectively come together. Hundreds of questions get submitted to me every single month, and I pick them consciously to say, this is what I want to speak to you about. Well, Dr. Adam from Arizona has a question today that I want to answer. My new patient consultations are very symptomatic and affect my conversion to corrective care. How do you coach your clients through this problem? This is a big problem in chiropractic. It's one that a lot of chiropractors are having difficulty with. Let me first of all describe what's called a pre-consultation. When a new patient first enters our practice, we do not want to ask the question, even though our heart is big, even though we're feeling authentic, even though we've got good listening skills, we don't want to ask the question, so tell me, what's the matter? How are you feeling? Because as soon as you have somebody talking about headaches, back pain, and numbness, you're having them talk about something they already know. So they're not learning anything right from the beginning. So you want to make sure whatever they start saying is something that's attached to something they can be learning from while they're speaking. That's called a pre-consultation. What that means is, instead of asking the question right off the bat, you simply say, Jonathan, in just a moment, I'm going to be asking you some specific questions about your body signals. And I believe they warrant serious consideration. First, I just want to tell you who we are and what we do, and let them know about the condition vertebral subluxation, that the body actually heals and repairs through the brain, down through the nerve system, and out to every cell, tissue, and organ in the body. And when there's no interference in that system, the body is said to be healthy and normal. But there's a condition known as vertebral subluxation that can prevent you from having that. And this condition, subluxation, can cause much of the unwanted conditions that people suffer from every single day. And so we even have a spine in front of them so they can see the spine is shifting out of position, and those small vertebrae can now put pressure on the nerve system, causing that problem. Well, see, once you've actually spent a minute, 2 minutes describing your pre-consultation, they have a sense of, oh, so that's who you are. That's what you do. Then, even then, we don't go into the symptoms. The second step is to make sure you go through a careful history of trauma. And this is really one of the next biggest problems that chiropractors have. You don't want to simply ask them again, so tell me, how are you feeling? What you want to do is make sure you acknowledge, because they probably wrote it down on an entrance form, that your major concerns are headaches, back pain, and numbness. And we're going to get to those in just a minute. What I want to find out, first of all, are perhaps traumas, impacts, which is even a better word, that could have caused potentially these subluxations in the past. When was your most recent auto accident? When was your most recent slip and fall at home? When was your most recent sporting or athletic injury? When might have you been injured on the job, whether it was reported or not? How might you have slipped? Or is there some repetitive work that you're doing that might have led to this? If you get 5 traumas, which is really what your goal is for your patient, to have them identify 5 unique problems, impacts, issues, things that might have caused a sprained ankle or a broken arm, or something that they didn't even relate to their spine, let alone the health conditions they have right now. An auto accident that was years ago that they haven't related to the conditions they have right now. When a person hears the truth first, the principle, which is the pre-consultation, secondly, they themselves can walk them through chronologically 4, 5, 6, 7 impacts that could have led to subluxation. And then finally, the third step is the OPQRST. How long, how bad, how often, etc. Now we're able to talk about the symptoms, but here's where you have to be very careful. Even after the pre-consultation, well done, and even after a history, well done, of trauma, we can still mess this up by just simply saying, so tell me about your headaches, tell me about your back pain, tell me about your numbness. And then they're talking about it, and they're still almost putting white out on everything you did before. Here's the learning lesson today. Your question can be and should be more important than their answer. Listen to this. So, Steve, if you do have subluxation, and it's a good way to put a spine in front of them, if you do have subluxation, it can put pressure on nerves for a long period of time. How long have you been having your headaches? And the patient replies, well, I've been having my headaches on and off for probably the last 4 or 5 years. Now what they're connecting to is, oh, maybe I've had this problem that the doctor's talking about for 4 or 5 years. Oh, and I have a series of traumas that tell me that may have been the cause. In other words, without you saying anything, all the tumblers are moving and they are going through a self-learning process. Steve, if you do have subluxation, it can affect different nerve fibers. For example, your headaches, are they sharp? Are they dull? Are they throbbing? Oh, mine are sharp. I see. And as I'm taking my note, the patient is thinking, maybe I do have that subluxation, and maybe that came from that car accident or whatever several years ago. Do you understand that the way in which real deep learning happens is by giving people an opportunity to take inward what you know to be true and let them actually come to their own conclusion? When you do this in the proper sequence, your consultations become magnificent. People thank you. People have huge breakthroughs in their healing in their life because of the process that you led them through. Finally, they're more interested in the cause than they are in the symptoms that brought them into your practice. And that was the point in the first place. So if you're having some difficulty with your consultations and they seem to be too symptomatic, understand that there's many, many chiropractors in this field today that are having that same problem. This is how you solve it. If you need any more help, give me a call. Until next time, practice with passion. God bless.